Hello and welcome to Season 3 of The Nod, a mindful motorcycle podcast. I'm Ben Bowers and I'm delighted to welcome you back to our little mindful motorcycle pod. We have a fantastic season ahead with some brilliant guests that you can listen to as normal or watch on YouTube. This episode is powered by Devitt Insurance, trusted by UK bikers for over 85 years. Whether you ride one bike or a whole garage full, Devitt's got you covered. From single bike policies to multi-bike insurance that can save you time and money, they make it easy to help protect what you ride. Tailored insurance quotes, practical prices and highly rated on Trustpilot. Head to devittinsurance.com today.
So we'll take it nice and easy with him, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's only got 125. It's a bit greasy, and he passed his test like 3 weeks ago. So,
have you seen my? I've filled the holes.
Oh,
in
well
my
done.
driveway. Yeah, look.
You filled them?
No. Actually, my builder did. He got. I think he got really fed up with. He got really fed up with driving his van down. Oh, slippy. Well, it's Dougie. What a rather attractive chap he is.
We've got to stop having such good-looking people on the podcast.
I know. It's. I've told you this before. You know, I think one of the criteria was to find somebody who, who just wasn't anywhere near as good. It made us look good, but we're just like these two old farts who do a mindfulness podcast. I'm so disappointed with myself,
I always love meeting people that are new to motorbiking, at any point in their lives, especially when they're getting on a bit. I think he's like 36, but when you come to it a bit later in your life and discover the joys of what we already know.
Yes, of motorcycles. He was saying that he got his bike in spring, and he said he's ridden it almost every single day since he's got the bike, and he said he loves it. He said it felt so strange to be behind the wheel of a car. So I think he's sold.
Yeah, well, that's great. I think he's got his big tests coming up in a few weeks to get his full license, and then he'll be
away,
running with the big dogs.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to The Nod, a mindful motorcycle podcast. This week, Charley and I are joined by a musician, writer, and most importantly, new biker, Dougie Poynter.
Hi.
Hi, Dougie. Hi. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you very much.
Good. I've got a little introduction for Dougie, Charley, that ChatGPT's punched out for me. Oh. Quite often I get AI to write my intros because I'm fucking lazy.
Yeah.
And they do such a good job. My English is rubbish.
I want to hear it as well.
Full disclosure, I have tweaked it a bit because it was a little bit shit.
Okay.
Dougie is a talented bassist and songwriter from the iconic British band McFly.
Love it already. Yeah, is that it?
No, that's not it. That's just the opening.
I love it so
salvo.
far.
Yeah, it's a bit we all know.
Yeah.
Known for this gets a little bit Spotify now. Known for their infectious pop rock sound and chart-topping hits, McFly has captured the hearts of fans around the world since their debut in 2003. It sounds. I mean, I want to be a McFly.
Yeah,
21 years. Yeah.
That's a pretty long time in the music, I mean, not if you're comparing to the
Well,
Rolling Stones, but
if you're a drummer, it's a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Alongside his musical exploits, Dougie, alongside bandmate Tom Fletcher, has written the hugely successful and entertaining children's book series, The Dinosaur That Pooped. Honestly, mate,
Very cool.
I didn't realise you'd written them, and they are my favourite books to read my kids. I love them.
I thought you were going to say they were your favourite books.
Well, they're amongst my top 3 go-to evening reads. We'll talk about it later.
That's Tolstoy,
I mean, For books with words, it's my top. Normally I just go for the ones with pictures. Yeah, that's why I like it. Yeah, and poo, and who doesn't love poo? A recently signed up member of the wonderful motorcycle community, Dougie, has recently passed his CBT alongside bandmate Danny. Is that right? You did it together? With support from Muck Motorcycles, he's now fast-tracking his way towards his full licence very soon, which is very exciting. Probably more so for you than me, but I'm quite excited.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Thanks. Riders. It's lovely.
Dougie has recently spoken openly about the pitfalls of music stardom and his challenges with drugs and alcohol addiction and how that has profoundly affected his mental health to the point of attempted suicide. Luckily for us, he's a much better musician than he is life taker, and we're very happy to have him join us.
Love it.
The last bit wasn't ChatGPT. I take credit for that myself, or not, depending how it lands.
But listen, so tell us how. I know you've been part of the band for 20 years and stuff. And why did you? How did you get into motorcycles? Why motorcycles now? Is it something you've always been interested in?
It's something I've always wanted to do. I just never got round to it, and insurance, and didn't even know how, where to begin.
Yeah.
Because it's such a long process, and the CCs of bikes, and I'm like, so do I go and buy a bike? How do I know what CC it is? And it just all felt a bit too much. And about 15 years ago, Harley were like, we want to give you bikes. Yeah. And we're like, sweet. And we looked into it again, what we have to do. And we're like, oh, fuck that. That's so
too long.
They've made it really hard.
We're like, so we can't ride the bikes right away? No, first of all, you've got to go and buy pretty much a moped. And then you've got to ride that for a bit. And there's, probably around 4 tests you're going to have to do in total. And again, it was, sod that. And then in 2020, we bought a studio as a band in Acton. So it's about, 20 minutes from me. So I'm doing that journey a lot to the studio. We hang out there, we write with other artists there, we rehearse there. It's quite big. So I'm there every day. And sometimes it can take me over an hour to drive there. And Danny as well, he was just banging on about the traffic, and we're like, dude, we've got to do it, we've got to get our motorbikes. And we've been looking at Mutt because they look cool. We're like, oh, let's do, dude, these are 125s, let's do that. And they saw that we started following them, got in touch, and we're like, we will put you through your test and give you a bike at the end of it. And we were like, yeah, brilliant. Amazing. And so a couple of weeks later, me and Danny went up to I should say as well, Tom was also doing the same thing, and me and Danny had no idea that's where his head was. When we got up there, they were like, yeah, we're doing, Tom's just bought a bike off of us. We're like, oh, we didn't know. Yeah. Right, okay, so we've all got mutts.
Hold on, does that mean we have to buy them? Because you said you were going to give us the bikes. How come?
Yeah. Harry, our drummer's the only one. He rides a line bike. That's his that's his thing. Yeah.
So you're now finally gotten on the bikes, and are you loving it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so me and Danny went up to Birmingham to do our CBTs. And
had you ridden bikes before that at any point?
I was really young, yeah. I had, I don't even know what it was. I've just got a vague memory of a red scrambler as a kid that I would ride around a field on. I guess it was at 50cc probably, something like that. Yeah. And it was small.
Did you grow up in the countryside then?
No. There was just, I grew up in Essex, and there was a lot down where I lived. There's marshland and an oil refinery and stuff. So there's lots of kind of bad fields, wasteland, yeah.
And is your father into bikes at all?
He was, yeah. He rode. He had a Ninja, and a Transalp.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Hideous bike.
Is it really?
Looking, not horribly looking. It is very, but I don't like it.
It's a Honda Transalp, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Is it Honda?
Yeah. But I don't think they're very pretty.
So he did that. He would use that one to go on, I think he rode to Amsterdam and back, and
with some mates or something.
I think my mum went with him on the back. Yeah. But yeah, and he got me my first bike.
Yeah.
But yes, we went up, did our CBTs, and honestly, during the CBT, I almost quit. I absolutely hated it. I just couldn't understand the clutch thing, clutch control, like that's like low speed maneuvers using the clutch. I mean, even now, like I go to the park every weekend, Richmond Park, and there's a car park there to practice, because even now I'm still like, okay, right, so I use it to slow down and then and yeah, keep the revs up. That I found really confusing, because in a car, like that's what burns the clutch out. But on a bike, that doesn't happen. And then, so yeah, I was sucking at it and was about to quit, and then it pissed it down with rain, and then the instructor's like, right, so we're going to take you out. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to bail. I'm going to bail. My heart was like thumping, like, you're going to take me out on to the streets? Like, I suck. I'm so bad. Danny was doing figure of eights, like straight away, just like, mate, this is easy.
Has he any motorcycle experience? None at all.
None whatsoever. Just motorbiking to Danny just comes like that.
Oh, that's annoying.
He's awesome at it. I was sucking.
In a place you don't know, that's quite intimidating.
Yeah. And you've got this like the headset thing was like blasting my ears, and I kept stalling at the lights because I didn't know what gear I was in. There was a problem with the bike. Like I didn't know what gear, and I couldn't remember how many I'd gone up or down. And I stalled at some lights up a hill, and I couldn't get it to turn back on. So I kind of awkwardly push it to the side. And it was the weirdest series of events. Push it to the side up onto the pavement, and this car came up next to me and was like, move. And I'm like, I'm on the fucking path. What do you mean? Move out the fucking way. And then so I move, and then he drives into a kid's park with swings and starts doing donuts and stuff, whilst I'm looking at him going, what the fuck is this? Some Grand Theft Auto shit. Whilst I'm going, what the hell? Someone else pulls up next to me and goes, oi, twat, and shoots me with a paintball gun.
What?
I was like, oh, fuck. Oh shit. And the instructor ran back and got me. And then and yeah, again, I was like, fuck, I'm gonna quit.
This
is the worst day of my life.
Terrible.
I was super shaky, and even on the drive home, I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. But the next morning, I woke up so buzzed and so excited to go out again. I was like, that was terrifying, but I loved it.
Well, that's a real instant insight into the vulnerability you feel on a motorbike, perhaps, because you're not in this metal bubble of a car. You're on the roads. You can see everything, smell it, hear it, and then people are shooting you.
I can't believe that you'd be
Dude doing donuts over here, and then a paintball gun here.
Jeez. Maybe let's not go to Birmingham.
Yeah.
Having said that, yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely loved it. And then Mutt very kindly gave us some bikes, and I've only been in my car once since getting the bike. So I go ride everywhere now, and it's totally changed my life.
It's a complete game changer, isn't it? Especially when you live in London. Riding around on a motorcycle is, and you just think, I can't believe how much time I've wasted sitting in a car.
Well, the journeys, the journey just even to the studio, I look forward to it. When I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh sweet, what's the weather like? Okay, cool, it's dry, awesome. And when we finish in the studio, I'm like, yes, I get to ride home. Whereas I used to hate the journey. But I've always loved skateboarding, and I guess that kind of solo. I'm not very competitive. It's just when you just compete with yourself to get better at things. I loved skateboarding and just going out by myself on my board, and so I feel like it feels very similar to that, or just the same as when I was a kid and got a BMX for the first time, and that sense of freedom.
you've really got the bug hard.
It's my entire identity now. I've completely like
Now identify as a
it's all-
motorcyclist.
it's all I really want to talk about. It's all I'm looking at on my phone. I'm completely obsessed.
Right.
But with this, it's really, really changed my life. And I've never been outside so much in my life as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like this whole summer, we were riding around here, and you're just taking it all in. The smells, the smells has been a huge thing. I really noticed the smells when it started turning into autumn, and I enjoyed
And
it.
the instant smells. as
Yeah,
well, isn't it?
yeah.
Like when you go to a bonfire,
Yeah.
bonfire, you can smell it immediately. It's like when you're in a car, you go past it and it only comes in later.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so it's very direct. Isn't
When you
it?
can
Yeah.
smell things, you can smell rain
Yeah.
in the air and things like that. So you get all these forewarnings that stuff's coming.
Can you smell people's perfume on the street?
Yeah. You can say you can smell weed.
Weed
Yes.
is the one.
Yes. Yeah.
instantly.
It's like, oh, hello.
Yeah.
And perfume and
Yeah.
smoking. You can smell, but someone's smoking in the car in front of you.
Yeah.
You can smell the smoking, and
I think that's part of, on a motorcycle, all your senses are heightened anyway, because most of the time you're in full self-preservation mode, like everything's out trying to kill me. I don't want to die, so you're like hyper aware. And I think that all of your senses tune into that, don't you?
They
So you
do.
pick up on all those little things.
you mentioned as well that you said here. You said that you went past the sheep that you always see.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that when we went out, because we went for a ride together up to that hilltop kitchen, and always when you come up the hill here, there's always, my wife always sees it as well. There's a little patch where there's always 4 or 5 pheasants always are sitting in that little bit of the field, always hanging there. And as I come up, I kind of come home and I see the pheasants.
Nice.
And I think, oh, okay, hello guys.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they go flying because they think they're being shot at with your exhaust. yeah. So what are your influences biking wise? Where do you think, because there's you're in this amazing world that's a great leveler because everyone's on a bike, but the amazing thing about bikes is they go anywhere and you can do anything, and there's all different tribes within biking. Your sports bikes, your adventure bikes, your Harley cruisers, and everything in between. Is there an area that's you're looking pretty like, Shoreditch cool biker at the moment with a lovely head-on helmet, which are our favourite helmets. We love the guys at Head-On. But is there a burning, when you're scrolling the internet for motorbikes at the moment, thinking which one do I want to buy? Is it a V4 Panigale Ducati, or is it something completely different?
Always Bonneville's.
Okay.
That's I've never even. Yeah, I've sat on one. I've never ridden one.
The old ones or the new ones? Because I've got a couple of new ones in the garage.
Is that what they are? I couldn't. Right.
Well, one was a T120 Bonneville. Started off as that, and then
Okay.
kind of
With
chopped it up.
liquid cooled.
Yeah.
So the brand new. Right. I like both, really. I prefer the look of the older ones. I guess before, was it 2015 when they started putting liquid?
Got the ones that did the.
Is that, if you were going to put a picture of a bike and a person, would Steve McQueen be that kind of cultural reference point
totally.
for you?
Yeah.
Which is a really, really good choice.
Well, I think
I mean, it's
what
the
I like,
ultimate
I like
cool.
the, I guess like from The Great Escape, like it's kind of scrambler-esque,
Yeah,
or
sort
like
of desert
he's riding
racer.
over hills and stuff, but it's also looks like a great street bike as well.
Well, the Bonnie was perfect for that. It did a bit of everything for Bonneville.
Right.
It still does, yeah.
And you could back in the day, they would you'd put the straight bars on, or you could put the clip-ons as well, so that they would be able to sort of
The cafe racer or scrambler, desert,
And that dude
desert
who
sled
did
style.
what was his name? And he went around the world.
Oh, Ted Simons. Well, oh no, cool.
Is that his name?
Well, he wrote a book called Jupiter's Travels.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
listening
Ted
to
Simons.
his audiobook at the
It's a
moment.
good book, isn't
Yes.
it? You and I were both really quite rather influenced by.
Oh,
by
really?
him. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and certainly you, and he'd read his book, and then Ted on the long way round on the first one we did, he came out came and rode with us in Mongolia.
I thought when I was
for a little bit. But what I loved about his book, I don't know if you remember the opening sort of chapters of his book, is he starts off where he's sitting under a tree in India, and his bike's broken down, but he's completely relaxed because he knows that, having had that experience already, it takes time to realise that someone will come, and someone will help. And he said it took him a long time to be confident in that, but it does happen.
And that's what happened with you guys, right? Whenever there was problems, someone...
Yeah, there's always something happens. I mean, we just finished another trip as well in the summer, long way home. We both took old bikes. I took my old BMW 1973 one there. You took another Motor Guzzi.
Wow.
And we went all around Scandinavia and stuff.
Oh, wow.
I say it's interesting that you've come into sort of motorbikes at this age, because I suppose when you, because when you 20-something years ago, you didn't play. So how old were you when the band got together?
15.
15.
Yes, yeah, I'm 36 now.
So you, so I suppose your childhood was sort of almost taken over by.
Yeah. So
band.
I joined the band at 15, and by 16 we were like in the charts and stuff.
How did you get together in the band? Were you in school together, or?
So Tom and Danny from McFly kind of met by accident and wrote all of the first album, and with James from Busted, they wrote.
Because Tom
was in Busted.
Was in Busted, then got kicked out.
They got kicked out.
Right.
But remained friends with James, and Tom wrote a lot of Busted songs, and James wrote McFly songs. There's a weird incestuous thing with both bands. And they got a record deal, and were like, we need a drummer and a bass player. So they held auditions, and I think it was the first audition. It was me and Harry were number 1 and 2. So they didn't look very hard.
Right. They're kind of desperate.
There's actually
the only two that turned up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you were at school, you were a musician. Was that the ambition, or were you just looking for something? Did you want to be a bass player in a band?
Yeah. I specifically picked up bass because nobody else played bass. Everyone played drums and guitar. And I picked up the bass so that we could start a band at school. And I thought, okay, so I maybe could join other bands because everyone needs a bass player. And that was exactly what McFly needed as well, was a bass player.
So you just saw an advert somewhere, in Music
Weekly?
In
the NME.
Right.
Just someone in my IT class was like, oh, you play bass guitar, don't you? So, yeah. I'd never spoken to this dude. The dude hated me. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm so thankful for this kid. He was like, you play bass guitar,
Is he doing a book tour now on how
He's,
I made McFly?
Yeah. Thomas McQuaid, his name was. So
good on you, Thomas.
Yeah, if you're listening, Thomas, thank you. He said, oh, you play bass? There's an advert in a magazine downstairs. I was like, okay. Went down, and it was like, Universal Records are looking for bass players and drummers between the ages of 16 and 21. So I went to the audition, lied about my age, threw up in a bin.
Wow.
Yeah, would be nervous.
Just terrified. Absolutely terrified. All I'd seen was like, my sister was watching like Pop Idol and stuff so I thought it was going to be like that.
And then that's...
And that was it. And then, but McFly then just went...
Yeah.
Today, like from the get-go, it was...
Yeah, we got really lucky. It just went mad straight away. We supported Busted on their first arena tour, and they really helped us like gain momentum.
So how come how come they were they just good mates? The
Busted dudes.
The Busted dudes.
Yeah. So just because of the relationship with Tom from my band, and Tom was going to be the drummer. Tom's great at every instrument he picks up. So then the management, Busted's management managed McFly as well.
Right.
Same record label as well as Island Records. So there was
so they could double dip the tours and make loads of money and all worked for them.
Yeah. So so McFly supported Busted, and and it went mad. The first single was like number 1 for 2 weeks, and the album went to #1. And yeah, when you're that young though, you don't really care. Like there was no social media for me to see numbers and be like, oh wow, I'm really.
Yeah, 'cause this is 03, was it?
Yeah.
So Facebook had just been invented in
Facebook
03.
wasn't around. MySpace was.
2003 it started.
And there were no real smartphones. It was Nokia 2110s or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. Tom was the only one who had a laptop, and the internet was kind of dodgy, so we'd see ourselves on the front cover of like magazines and things, and be like, okay, cool. Sweet. I guess we all lived in a house together. Like that was the cool thing.
So you were 16. You kind of left home.
Yeah. So my dad left. My dad left, and it was the last time I saw him 2 weeks before I left home as well to join the band.
Oh wow.
So I had like the worst thing, and then the best thing happened to me, like so close together. It was like it was the perfect thing really, because it was so distracting from all the.
What was going on?
What was going?
Your dad?
Yeah.
And had that been something that was that a troubled period between your parents? Is that something that
no
affect you?
No, I just came home. I just came home one day from school, and my dad wasn't there. He just left a note.
And he gone, and
and that was it. Yeah.
No contact since.
No, it's gone.
So he's just fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, that was quite. I guess my teens were quite a weird time being in this band, and the dynamic between me and my mum had changed a lot, because now I was making money, and wasn't living at home, and
So do you have brothers and sisters? Or?
a younger sister.
Younger sister.
Yeah, she's like 3 years younger. But yeah, so my teens were like quite a weird time.
Bonkers, yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I mean, it's difficult when you're in the media and you have success at a very young age. It's quite difficult to deal with, isn't it? I mean, did you find it at that time? Did you find it very difficult, or was it later on that it became harder? Or
I think it was later on. Like as I said, like we didn't really care.
yeah.
We were teenagers. Like we obviously like #1s and stuff. We're like, okay, well that's good, because it means that we can keep doing this.
Yeah.
And like, all we wanted to do was go on tour, like play music, and hang out together. We just wanted to be a band. We all grew up on like rock music as well, so the pop side of it didn't really like bother us. So we were just, like, I guess the teen magazines or tabloids or big TV shows, like none of our idols had ever done that, so it wasn't a big deal to us really. Being more rock fans.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say that Quadlock are joining us this season on the Nod Pod, and as we all know, fantastic brand.
Great bit of kit, and check out all the links in the bios. There's a little discount code for all of you lovely people to go and get some Quadlocks yourself.
Yeah, I've been using them for years.
So you wanted to be selling out stadiums, living the rock star lifestyle as you
or just
been
like
influenced by.
Yeah, we just thought it was cooler to not care about that. So we never we didn't go to like clubs or anything like that and get papped like I wasn't old enough, but
It's nice, isn't it? It's very important when if you do have success at a young age and stuff. It's important to have a sister and a mother or parents or whatever to sort of keep you a little bit grounded. And keep you in check. Say, look, don't be an asshole.
Yeah, I think as a band as well, we were very much like that with each other, and still are. If one of us is acting a little diva-ish, we're like, all right, mate, all right, ooh, poor little pop star. We're like brothers. We genuinely enjoy each other's company. We still love touring. We're better as a band now than we were back then. Obviously, we're better and more experienced. We enjoy touring more now than we did back when we all used to drink and party and stuff. Because none of us are hungover anymore, and the party is on stage. And
what point did that flare? So we've had other musicians. Mark Richardson is the drummer in Skunk Anansie.
Oh, cool.
He came. Mark's good friends.
Yeah, he's a
good guy, but
crazy story as well.
Yeah, he was in Feeder and obviously Skunk, sort of either side of that, and an unbelievable drummer. But again, with a lot of pop stars have been through some pretty tough times with drug and alcohol addiction, and doesn't drink anymore, and had some big moments in his life. Yeah, much happier. And much happier. Still touring as a band, and it was kind of the band that kind of said, "Look, we're going to kick you out of the band unless you sort your life out because you're a mess." But they got into that touring lifestyle of parties and drugs after each gig. Was that the same for you guys at the point? When did that kind of start?
No, not really. It was mainly me. In the early days, we all used to smoke weed, and we were just kids getting high. And we had this house that we lived in, and we just, it was, those were the funnest, most funnest times ever, when we all used to just smoke weed and just laugh until like 5 a.m. And then, but it's only it's not really sustainable. Like eventually you start getting paranoid, and it stops being fun. And then so I switched to drinking, and then started doing coke as well, because I liked drinking so much. And
but the two balance each other out.
So
you can keep going
just to keep going.
Not that I know
In fact, that's what I've read somewhere.
Someone told me. This guy Dougie told me.
But that was just me, and it was kind of my own little private thing, or like kind of secret weapon that I'd always kind of have on me, and I just kind of just ran that into the ground, really. And it was the first. I've been to rehab twice, and that first time, Tom from my band drove me to rehab, because I was just drunk all the time. I don't really. I think that would have happened anyway. Like, even if I hadn't have been in a band, I loved anything mind altering. I don't know. I just got, like I said, I can get like obsessed with things, and so if I,
it's an addictive character, isn't it? So if you get obsessed with things, and you explore that completely. So if you're gonna do drink or drugs, it's going to be the same outcome, isn't it? You're all in.
And was that it? Have you dived into sort of post through rehab and counselling and sort of having stopped drinking now? Have you sort of gone back to look at what those drivers were? Have you identified?
Totally. I think for me, drinking drugs is just a byproduct of a bunch of other shit that's going on. I definitely have a bad relationship with drinking drugs, so I totally 100% stay away from any of that shit now. But I think that's probably why I ended up back in rehab a few years later, because I didn't quite get it. I thought I just had to stop that, and then, but it's the tip of the iceberg, and then there's this whole other pile of shit at the bottom that I needed to deal with. But that takes time. I didn't even know what anxiety was when I first went into rehab. That was all like brand new to me. I'm like, what is anxiety for? Oh, it's the thing when your heart's going like that and your stomach's in a knot and you feel sick. Yeah, I get that. So that was mainly all of my 20s, just discovering all of the other, I guess, like issues that I had with mental health.
I suppose it stems back from your father disappearing, from all of those things, just without realizing, affect you, don't they?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think just by nature I'm quite like an anxious person, or skitty kind of person. After 2 coffees, I'm like, and then obviously, drink is a downer, so that calms me down. Coke brings you back up, but gives you confidence, which I'd never had.
But it's funny you should say you had never had confidence when there you are in a band playing to thousands of people, and
it's a mask that they put the bass on, and it's like sitting on a bike. Like that's because it becomes part of you, and you're like, oh, well we were, but
I'm a roughy tufty biker.
yeah.
I'm not. But
you put a bass guitar on, and
It's your makeup.
thing, yeah. But without it, I feel completely naked and hate it.
So you just walk around with the bass on the whole time.
Yeah. Diazepam was my big thing though. That was the real. That's why I haven't got an issue being around alcohol or anything like that. I'm dumb with that, and there's nothing really like appealing. Like I can fast forward very quickly in my head. Like, I don't want to be hungover or throw up like that.
It's horrible that feeling of where you've gotten drunk and you've got a busy day the next day, and you get up and you're not feeling right. You're not you.
Whereas diazepam, completely,
Well, but then that has another effect, doesn't it? Where it then takes you to a point where you don't have any feeling. It's difficult then.
That was.
So was that a coping mechanism? Diazepam was just numb everything.
Yeah, so I'd been sober for. I got sober, I think, when I was like 22, and I was sober right up until 28, I think I was. And I was having a bit of a panic attack somewhere. I was jet lagged, drank too much coffee, and was freaking out in the middle of London. And a friend of mine was like, "Oh, okay, chill, have one of these." And I was like, "Oh, fuck it." And I was like, "Holy shit, what was that? I feel amazing." This like warm blanket just went over me, and I was like, "Oh, cool." And I just Googled like, where can I find more of this shit, and a few days later, like 500 pills just appear through the letterbox, and I was like, sweet. And then that just sent me on this like way bigger than alcohol and cocaine. Like, just sent me on this huge downward spiral where there's literally 2 years that I can't really remember.
Wow, that's frightening.
Yeah, like there's just massive blackouts. Every now and again, I'll get a flashback. Like I'm slowly piecing those 2 years.
And what was happening? Were you touring at that time? Were you?
I was touring. I had a side project band, and I was touring with those guys. So we were doing clubs and staying out on the road in a van and stuff. I wasn't really like doing much. I was just kind of swanning around, like thinking that I was like really busy, but not.
Go to bed every night. Yeah, it was a good day.
Yeah. Got a lot of shit done today. It's great. But yeah, I started falling through. I live on in an apartment, and on the second floor, and I kept smashing the window as I'd come down the stairs, and where I'd still be a bit dizzy from the night before, because that's when I'd really load up, was at night. I kept like smashing through the window. Doing like dumb shit like that. Going to places a couple of days before I was supposed to be there. I'd arrive at people's houses, and like, it'd be like me arriving for this podcast like 3 days ago. Like, so are we doing this thing, man?
Is that okay?
Yeah.
And how do you think? Like that's quite profound behaviour to continue for like 2 years. Do you think people were people trying to help you at that point? Were you just like
nobody knew? Nobody knew.
Do you think people just excused it because you were a pop star and like they're like, oh, he's probably? Do you think there's a culture where you were allowed to get away with that stuff because of the industry?
Yeah, I think people who didn't really know me wouldn't have thought there was anything up with me. It was, it's this weird guy. Yeah, or I didn't. I've never been one for bragging about my stash or anything, because it could. I guess because I'm nervous about the party ending. So it's just my thing.
Oh, your thing to just know that you were okay.
Yeah, so I'm a bit like it now with Nicorette. Like I've always got Nicorette in my pocket, and I've always got a Nicorette stuffed up here. And so I was the same with diazepam.
I mean, that's quite a different level, isn't it?
Quite a different level. Yeah, a little bit different. Yeah.
So you were a big smoker before then?
Yeah. And I've been stuck on Nicorette for fucking ages now.
Well, that's your addictive character, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to come off of it.
Yeah, but that's not such a bad thing.
No.
You know, really. If it works for you, then that's cool. You know.
But yeah, so that it was. So I was on it for more than 2 years, but 2 years was complete blackout, and then eventually it was my band again that were like, okay, Doug's acting like really weird. I would repeat myself a lot. Like Danny said, I told him the same really weird fact about Eminem 3 times in a row. Like we were in a car like, going to a friend's wedding, and apparently I just said it like back to back as if I hadn't, and he was like, what the fuck is that? I don't even remember what it is. No. But that's what he said, and they knew about the window smashing thing, and Harry was pretty on to me straight away that I wasn't acting right, but they had to work out what it was that I was. They knew I wasn't drinking because I wasn't acting drunk, but they were like, he's acting weird. Yeah, and then Harry came to my house, and I guess it was kind of a bit of an intervention, and so I was like, all right, okay, I'll stop. Okay, party's over. So I contacted a friend, a drugs counselor friend of mine, and he was like, well, whatever you do, don't stop, because the amount that you're taking could kill you if you stop. Yeah. So I was like, fuck, okay, right, what do I do? And so he had a treatment center in Ibiza called Ibiza Calm, and oddly enough, yeah, in Ibiza, like kind of the weirdest place to, yeah.
They just have James Blunt.
Well, if it doesn't work, you can.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, yeah, you just go, yeah.
Party again.
But yeah, so I went out there to detox because I had to be on I had to go on a blind detox where they'd bring it down ever so slightly, and I was out there for about 10 to 12 weeks.
Wow.
The first few weeks were awesome. Like I remember just having a good time with all the other patients. I was like, this is sweet. I'm in Ibiza, and I guess because my tolerance was so high, I wasn't really noticing how much they were dropping me by. It was once I got maybe down to anything around like 100 milligrams less that I started. Oh my God. And that still is like the worst time of my existence was then. Like I was, as you were saying, like you don't feel any emotion whatsoever, and then all of a sudden all those emotions slowly start coming back. So you start feeling again, but they come back at like so 1 minute you're like crying with laughter, and then the next minute you're super fucking angry because somebody ate the last potato or something. And then I was just in a constant state of being terrified, because I'd been on anti-anxiety. Like now I was just full of anxiety. I was scared of, I remember being terrified of Persian rugs or anything that had too much information in it. I'd just be like, ooh, all right. Oh shit, okay, yeah, that rug's intense. Oh shit. And then the post-acute withdrawals lasted for a good year of just being depressed.
Wow. God, it's tough to then just keep off it as well.
Yeah.
Knowing that one pill.
Knowing that there's something out there, that can take it away.
Take it away, yeah. That's very brave to keep going.
It was before COVID, because I started feeling better, and then we went straight into lockdown. Yeah, I was pretty bummed.
Timing.
Yeah, I was like, all I want to do is go and like live now. So that sucked. But that was, the post-acute withdrawals like really, really, really sucked. Kind of enough that that it doesn't. I mean, it does still seem appealing like diazepam, but that was an absolute. I just wanted to
But again, it's that fast forward thing, isn't it? So you say about the drink
Yeah.
and stuff. You can fast forward into knowing what the feeling's going to be like the next day.
My natural state was like a terrified mouse, like constantly. As soon as I wake up, open my eyes, I'd be terrified. Just constant. My heart rate was. I lost loads of weight where I was just on edge the whole time. At times I just wanted to cease to exist. I was like, this is not living. This is horrible. I would burst into tears if, just in Sainsbury's, for no real reason. I was just constantly low.
And were you having, I mean, at that point, at that lowest end, were you having suicidal thoughts? Was it to that level? You think, I don't want to be around? Were you considering?
No, I think it was I just wanted to cease to exist. So I couldn't imagine. I was like, well, this isn't is this ever going to go? With Coke and booze, the negative feelings kind of go so quickly in comparison, and you're right, and the upsides of it really start. You start noticing it almost right away. Whereas this was taking a year to get better. And I was kind of worried that I'd messed with my I guess the chemistry in my brain so much. I was like, have I done damage? Yeah. Will this ever go back to normal?
And at that point, see, they're treating you for the physical removal of the toxins from your system, cold turkey, taking you off the diazepam. What were you doing, and how, obviously, because you're with an addictive personality where it's, weed or alcohol or Coke or something stronger, how have you got to the point? What were you doing at that time as well? And was there some mental health support for you to have counselling and work out, okay, why do I feel like this? What are the things that make me feel like this? How can I manage those, not stop them, because we can't stop anxiety. We can manage it in a way that you can function rather than look for the other alternatives. What were you doing around that time to be able to get to the point now where nicotine is kind of the baddest thing you're putting inside your body, but you can function and some of those, identifying those triggers and then understanding what your mental health looks like and how you can manage that in a positive way?
I mean, as I said, I get obsessed with things. So thankfully, I got obsessed with counseling and self-help and stuff for a period of time. At one time, I thought I was like, right, I'm gonna be Buddhist. I'm gonna be a Buddhist monk. So I looked into that and was reading loads of books about how to become one, and I just could never really deal with shaving my head. I don't look good with a shaved head.
Great hair.
Thanks. So yeah, and I've been in therapy for a long time. I think it was about finding the right kind of therapy or the right kind of therapist.
It's often the right therapist, isn't it? Because you can be banging away with one person and you get to a certain point and then you need to change. And eventually you do find someone who you go back to again and again.
My therapist in Ibiza, she was an absolute godsend angel. She would I can't remember what the word she used to describe it, but she would blend lots of different types of therapy together, just depending on how I was at that time. I mean, most patients have to do written reports or homework and stuff, and I couldn't concentrate on typing or writing. Was just this was scary. So she just had me do paintings and stuff, and worked out that I'd open up a lot more if it was just kind of conversational, or if I did a painting, like a collage of something, of how I was feeling, because I'm quite visual, so I'd find that quite easy to do. And then so I would open up in sessions when I'm going through. I'm like, okay, this cloud thing I've drawn here represents that, and I've put an ant here because I really love insects and I find them really fascinating. And she was amazing. And now there's obviously support groups, Narcotics Anonymous and AA, and just like regular therapy. But it takes time, and like you said, like it's not something that really ever goes. The big bad monster feelings.
The trauma is there.
Yeah.
Like whatever that trauma is.
Collecting this set of weapons to.
And it's moving past the trauma.
Yeah,
as well.
living with it.
Living with it and
not being
allowing
controlled
it to
by
be there and accept it and move on.
But that not being your entire
And it doesn't need to be, because what's happened has happened. You can't change, what we did this morning. You can, but
luckily we rode motorbikes, so we wouldn't want to change.
We want to change that. That was lovely.
That was the best part. So I'm always really interested, because everyone we talk to, has had trauma at some point in their lives. Nobody's immune from that. Nobody goes through life without a crisis of some sort. And people react to them and deal with them in different ways. But that's the really interesting thing, because we've all got mental health, mental fitness, physical health, and we all respond to it in different ways. So we're always interested to hear everyone's experience about what are the things that they do day to day that allow them, especially because a lot of our guests are successful at something, way more successful than I am at anything. They're really good at something, whether it be music or driving Formula 1 cars or whatever, being in the special forces.
There's something that's good.
We'll find it. I think archery might be. It's still the one Olympic sport. Don't. But we've all, I've had cancer twice and had a mental sort of health breakdown and divorce and all the rest of it in my life, and counselling, and I've found a way, the things that work for me, to be able to identify those triggers that start to deteriorate, have an impact on my mental well-being, and the things I can do to mitigate against those and not go right to the bottom, just go down a little bit and try and get myself back up to a good spectrum of mental health. And for me, that's riding motorbikes, it's walking my dog, it's being with my family, it's talking about how I'm feeling and not bottling it up. The biggest challenge that most men in the world face is that ability to
verbalize.
To verbalize how they're feeling and talk about it and get it out, get it off their chest.
Yeah. For
you, what are your go-to tools that you use that somebody listening might think, oh, that might work for me? That's interesting.
It's funny. My therapist was the one who made me push the button with learning how to ride a motorbike. I brought it to her in session and was like, oh, I think I'm going to learn how to ride motorbikes. And I was expecting her to be like, oh, you idiot, that was the last thing you should be doing. You're insane. You are ridiculous. Stop it. But she was
I'm
like,
not sure a therapist can call you insane.
But yeah, she was like, I go and do it. Just like so many of my patients ride and they have so much fun doing it and they're so much happier because they ride. And yeah, she was right. I've got a bunch of tools, just depending on like really what it is that's going on. Knowing myself is a big thing. I know that sounds really
almost self counseling yourself.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Yeah, or being the adult to the inner child, like.
And unless you're aware of what's going on, you can't do anything proactive about it.
I mean, I was doing it to myself last night, like, so I'm a bit I'm a bit jet lagged. I got back from Jamaica yesterday, and because our flight was delayed, like I thought I was going to have a 24 hours at home before coming and doing this. I'm laying in bed at like, it was already midnight, and my heart's going mad because I'm like, it was like, before Christmas Day.
Charlie Borman tomorrow.
Yeah. Literally, I was so excited about doing this.
Don't.
I was so excited about doing.
He doesn't.
No. But it's difficult as well when you're excited about something, but at the same time you can't get to sleep, and at the same time you're tired, and you're thinking, well, can I still do it tomorrow? It does. And nighttime is the worst.
Yeah,
time
I thought I might sleep in. I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to get there for 10:30 a.m. That means I've got to get up I should get up at 7. I'm like, oh, but what time is it in Jamaica right now? My therapist taught me that changing the physicality can affect the mind, obviously, as well. So when I'm laying there and I can't sleep, she's like, just be aware of. So like your heart rate will be going crazy. Your breathing would have changed because of what's going on in your head. You might be laying there, but you're not breathing like properly. So, and I find this really works. So simple, but breathe in for 3, hold for 3 or 5 or something, and then no.
So box breathing.
Is that what that is called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sort of go in, hold,
and then you breathe out for even longer.
Hold.
Yeah. You breathe. I think it's a very good thing. When you're just about to go and do a talk in front of people, or maybe for you on stage, or for whatever it is, just to give yourself. My father always said that. So just before you start doing a speech or talk, you give yourself, go to the lectern or to the mic and be brave and give yourself 5 seconds. That breathe in and slowly.
It's the exhale. That's the important one. I sometimes overdo it a bit, and I try and exhale for as long as possible, and I start getting a bit lightheaded. But that before I know it, I'm out, and the thoughts start becoming less intrusive, and and then I'm asleep.
It's amazing the power of just getting your breath right, how that can change your whole physical persona.
Absolutely. I mean, when I was younger, I had a really bad stutter, and even now when I get a little nervous, I sometimes find it difficult to start my sentence. And I met someone who was fantastic, and she told me to sing. And you sing your words, you don't stutter. And
Wow.
I don't know if you ever saw the King's Speech.
Yeah.
He sings. But
for
even
Gareth
back
Gates
then,
as
long
well,
time ago, a long time ago. But she taught me to breathe, and she said you're not breathing properly, and that's partly why you're stuttering. But the breathing thing is so important, and it's so obvious.
Yes. Yeah.
But yet so difficult to achieve. And another breathing thing, I remember I did the Dakar Rally on a motorcycle.
Fucking hell.
I brought that in.
Well, I thought we might get through an episode without you talking about the Dakar bloody
Is this
rally.
do you mention this in the show?
Every show. Every show.
I always mention it.
Ever done.
And even in the TV shows, and then Dion goes, "Oh, for fuck's sake, the fucking Dakar Rally." But I know when I was training, I was getting exhausted, and I just was falling off the cliff. I couldn't keep going. It was extraordinary, and I was really panicked about it. And it was just one random guy who was doing an enduro race, a random guy, and he goes, "Charlie, when you get nervous about really steep bits or dangerous bits," he said, do you hold your breath?" And I was thinking, well, yes, I do. And he goes, he said, "That's your problem, because you're holding your breath and you're losing all your energy because you're not breathing." So then I started breathing, and it was amazing.
It sounds so ridiculous, doesn't it? But it's such a big thing. I don't think you have to. I think something like that has to happen, or someone has to make you aware of it, so that you become aware of what is physically going on when it's all gone tits up in your head.
And do you find that sort of thing, that sort of self-understanding, not just breathing, but all your other tools that you use, sometimes without realizing? Do you think that the rehab and everything it's given you that to be aware of
I kind of have a checklist in my head if I'm not feeling right, like sleep, exercise, food, correct food, meditation I can be a bit not always on top of that.
No.
And
But the breathing is sort of meditation anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're
Riding a motorcycle
Trying
is
to-
meditation.
well,
That comes in many forms.
that has
That's the new
become a
one.
new thing. Yeah. Honestly, like it sounds so silly, but it really has changed my life. Like I get so excited now just to do a quick 20 minutes somewhere. The world has all of a sudden feels like I just really can't wait to explore on my bike. And obviously your show is such a huge inspiration.
well, as you say, when you were a kid, you had an inkling of a motorbike, so it was always there.
Yeah, yeah.
It just like with your therapist, you just needed that. When she said yes, definitely good idea to ride a motorbike. You found your way.
Yeah, I can totally see now why. I think when I first saw your show, was that 2006, that first one, or
2004.
Four.
Yeah.
When that was first on TV, I was like, why are they riding their motorbikes for so long? Like, surely that's that's so boring.
Brilliant.
And then when I started riding, I'm like, well, that's all I want to do is stay out for as long as possible. Like,
I love it.
that's how you've ended up with. Okay, right. I was like, what? Do they win some medal at the end of it? Well done.
Oh, I'm going to keep that forever. That is one of my favorite comments. I love it. It's been a real pleasure having you on.
Oh no! Thank you so much for having me.
And it's so nice that you're on bikes and finding this other world, which is so kind of cool.
Thank you.
It's lovely.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to The Nod, a mindful motorcycle podcast. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. We'll be back next week with another excellent guest as we talk about all things motorcycle life and everything in between. Please do like and subscribe, hit the notification button, do everything you can across Apple, Spotify, wherever you get this podcast, or on YouTube, and all support, comments, shares, likes are massively appreciated as we continue to grow the season and crack on with some amazing new episodes. Until then, stay safe and check in on a mate.